But he does win a couple of matches one time in one of these.
Absolutely. I think it's always someone you can't count him out. You got to keep your eye out for these young dogs coming up, being aggressive, seeing if they can snatch some. But this man's been at the top for a long time. He is a very powerful Zerg, always up the upper echelons of Europe, and he is looking fantastic. The name to take down if you want to be someone of note in Poland, it is Elazer in the top left side of the map.
Taking on the red Protoss in the bottom right-hand corner of the map, it is going to be Krystianer.
And of course, Elazer's playing for Team Liquid right now. Starlight Twinkle for Krystianer. Always fun. I love that name. Team Starlight Twinkle.
I know, it's like an anime or something, you know.
Yeah. I'm still sad that it's Dragon Kaisi Gaming. It just doesn't quite sound the same as Dragon Phoenix Gaming as well. You know, there's like,
yeah, I know.
I feel like there's certain team names. Yeah, where's our KT Finger Boom or whatever they're called? Oh, is this a fake cannon rush? Hello. Oh, it comes in and drops the GG tag. I like it.
All right, you gotta put your tag in the base. You know, naturally, you know, get some mental victories over your opponent before everything else kicks off here. Let's just have our probe. Gonna go up into the main and scout around, of course. Do you not think that Krystianer is gonna bring out as much kind of variety as we saw from like Mana in the earlier series? I think this is gonna be much more case of seeing Krystianer probably go open. He will mix it up a little bit, but I think it's gonna be like a Twilight Council mixed in amongst some Stargate builds, if I had to make a guess.
Yeah, you know, it's funny because he mixes in some really old, weird builds on the ladder, does Archon drops, he likes his double Robo, does do all sorts of bizarre things. Little few weeks ago was doing a 3-base, like just mass storm push with like 6 Immortals and 6 High Templar and Archons and Zealots. I mean, so he's got a lot of very interesting styles that he's capable of bringing out. And he is very, very well-rounded in that regard. Now, Elazer's famous for a few things, right? The Polish Gambit, which is not building any Spore Crawlers, even when you know Oracles are coming, and just relying purely on Queens. You can take more damage than normal, but because you didn't kill 3 drones to build Spores, nor waste the 225 extra minerals on top of those 3 drones, you just have way more money, you know? He's also famous for building way too many Overlords to get up to about 300 potential supply, even though you only need 200. And he's famous for basically taking way more drone losses than any other Zerg and still being ahead, because this man knows how to build economy like a psychopath. Like, he is so good at absorbing damage because he does like to be very greedy at times. Now, I would say in this matchup, his weakness is he's too logical. If you're a very tricky Protoss, you can kind of trick him into doing something and then you know, cancel your attack or do the opposite. So you can kind of show him fake information and he will bite on it and react in a predictable manner.
I think he's going to try and clean up these Adepts, but they already get 3 for 4 workers, which is not bad for the first 2 Adepts. Great analysis of the players before that. I could not agree more with a lot of what you said. Yeah, nice to get in there and get some workers, though. Krystianer being the first to really strike. I mean, Protoss should be the first to strike, but good damage. Now the Oracle coming across, and there's a Robo on the follow-up. That was not what I was expecting.
And 4 gas.
Yeah.
Yeah, River 4 gas. This is looking unique, that's for sure.
Alright, I'll take it back. He is maybe going to mix up even more than Mana.
I think he will move out and take a 3rd. 4 gate? 5 gate? What is this? 4 gate. But no Twilight. This is... I feel like he forgot the Twilight Council. Either that, or it's just a straight up 2-base like Prism all-in with a ton of unupgraded gateway units. Very interesting play. Because what's the gas for?
Yeah, I don't really know. I mean, he's already got 500 of it banked. Whenever he decides to tech, he's going to be able to get all the tech. Now he drops the Twilight Council.
Yeah, I think he forgot the Twilight. I think he thought he got the Twilight after the Robo. So either that or this build has got some 300 IQ stuff. And you know what I always say? 300 IQ and 0 IQ are actually quite right next to each other. If you go above 300, you tick back over to 0, and so sometimes my small brain can't comprehend things, but definitely an odd build order. Elazer's going to be a bit confused about what's happening, but he seems to be confidently droning, and right now that is the right call. Even though he doesn't know about the Twilight and the Forge in the back, that's actually gonna, you know, drones counters this. There's no actual attack coming just yet.
Overlord gets knocked down, Temple Archives and the Forge continue through, and, well, I guess that's where a lot of the gas can go, right? Just into all of the Archons. As the Immortal comes up, we'll get an upgrade off the Forge, and the Elazer just starts up into his lair. I mean, nothing's coming so soon that he can't afford to tech here a little bit. He will get some roaches up for safety, but already on 60+ drones. I think Elazer is feeling pretty okay about this. He knows what his opponent is up to with, you know, in terms of not being overly aggressive, and his Overlord very close to spotting out that Prism there, so a little bit of something to look at too. And there's a couple of Adepts are poised on the left side, also hoping to kind of make themselves known very soon for a good reason, hoping to get some damage dealt.
Yep, it is that Archon drop, and he is going to be going for that. I wouldn't be surprised to see potentially a second Robo come in for him in the follow-up as well. Nice Adept pressure. I just feel like these little details, the Micro and the Adepts, really fantastic. 5 more drones. Elazer's opening has been so greedy. Look at this, dude. This is what I'm talking about. He just lost 5 drones. He's at 70. What the heck? It's 6 minutes. And he's already lost 9 drones this game, and he's still got so many. Elazer knows how to build those workers. He's got Infestation Pit on the way as well. Queens and Roaches will come to the front. And I do feel like Ravagers are pretty fantastic. I was wondering, because we were discussing this style with Rainer on stream a few weeks ago that Krystianer plays, and I was saying, like, could Swarm Host work? And obviously Lurkers you'd love against it, but it's, can you get to Lurkers before he pushes you? It's kind of, it's what Elazer's going for, but it looks like for now he's stuck on Heavy Roach, and if the Immortals can push with a Heavy Immortal army before he gets there, that's going to be a problem. Right now though, great cancel on the 4th, uses Oracle Energy, Stasis Trap, and Archon Drop Micro. That is fantastic. It's a quick hive for Elazer, but the gateway count's already exploding, and I don't think he's going to get time to get out Lurkers necessarily. The Immortals are building, the gateways are finishing, charges on the way. Krystianer, no doubt, looking to push out in the near future. There's an Overlord literally sitting over his 3rd right now. That is bizarre.
Yes, there is. That Lurker Den coming through, man. You said, can you get there? He's going to go for the extreme greed to try and make sure that we can get there. It seems to be the plan of action, so away we go forward. A couple of Archons going to try and deny this topside base. There is the hatchery coming up on the other side to act as a 4th as well if necessary, so just getting all of that up and running. As we do have Immortal +2.
15 more drones?
Okay, that's
dude,
crazy.
as Elazer, oh, dude, I don't know if Elazer's prepared for this build. I don't think he realized this is a 3-base all-in, going 90 drones. That's too greedy. I think this push is going to get him. Second Robo and +2 attacker on the way, but Krystianer is already moving out. I mean, it's a pretty good Roach Hydra Force, but it's a lot of Immortal Sentry plus the Archons. This is a scary moment. Elazer's greed knows no bounds. Is he going to get punished for it? If he can just hang on for another minute, it feels like he'll be unbreakable. And you know what? Storm only just started. I think Krystianer is going to give him the time. Looks like Elazer actually is getting range. 3 Lurkers. And if he can get gases up in his 4th base as well, that'd be fantastic.
Absolutely, as we have the Revelation dropping in, and Elazer has done the, well, done the challenging part of getting to Lurkers. Again, not got the upgrades yet, but already going to be setting up nicely. Like you say, Storm's a little ways off still from Krystianer, so difficult for him to push before that comes through. We see a few Zealots are going to get through the top. They're going to go jump onto that hatchery, and they're going to put some damage there. As a few Zealots also in the natural. Krystianer throughout the game has been very good at just creating harassment with these Zealots now, with the Adepts earlier. And I feel like that's something that Elazer has to really challenge himself to keep on top of. Is, yeah, that 5th base is looking like it's in trouble. Zealots in the main at the same time. That one Lurker is the slowest defense of all time on these Zealots, so that hatchery will die. But, yeah, that's, again, just good play by Krystianer, going in multiple places, forcing the Elazer to split up, you know, making them drag units all over the place, making this as difficult as possible.
The Polish Gambit, still no Spore Crawler on that natural. It could have actually just turned the laser on and killed a bunch of drones, funnily enough. Elazer getting lucky that the laser doesn't get turned on. The main base, did he leave no units in there? Uh-oh, Prism's coming back in. That's a bit of a naughty there from Elazer. He was hoping his static would get up in time. Should have left a few Hydras. The army on the front's sharking around and keeps scaring him and distracting him, but overall cost for cost, these trades aren't too bad considering how many workers he had earlier. That being said, his worker count's severely diminished. He's built a lot of static. Trying to burrow these lurkers. Adaptive Talons is not quite ready yet. Oh, you gotta be careful getting caught unburrowed. Great movement here by Krystianer, really catching Elazer off. His prism's bouncing around. Still no Hydras to deal with that. And that is a big problem. The fact that the Queens didn't move back up there or like a squad of Roach Hydra. Okay, now he is on top of it. And it looks like these Zealot Warpins are getting diminishing returns. So as long as he can hold on the front, Elazer should be able to stabilize. The Skytoss transition on the way for Krystianer. Impressive that he's doing that so early on only 6 gases. He's just so active with his Warp Prism, being a massive nuisance to deal with.
So let's will go after a couple more drones. So again, that Prism has been so annoying, but Elazer has been able to hold off this main army. Maybe now as Krystianer rotates around to the left-hand side, we do not see the Lurkers moving on the minimap, so he's going to have to unburrow those. Now he does have Adaptive Talons, though, so they can move into position much more easily. Also to try and slow them down first. Storm hitting a lot of the Hydras, and I think Elazer's realizing he is being caught out of position. He was not on top of where this army was at, and so this base is now in a ton of trouble after losing the top base so many times. Yeah, Elazer is in a bit of bother here, but he is starting to pin this army in. Can he actually get a catch on this? He burrows the Lurkers. He's going to keep it towards the bottom left, and maybe Elazer... Well, what do you think? Does he think he has a move across right now? He's actually going to fight in.
Too clumped.
Ouch.
That was a bit awkward. I think if he spread out just a little more, and if he sent a few Zealots ahead and off to the side, if you run parallel to the Lurkers, all their spines miss. They do nothing, and the first volleys are useless. Great Zealot counterattacks continuing, but his third base is under siege. Oh, he does catch a bunch of Lurkers unburrowed. 2 of them do go down. Extra one's taking damage, but he's taken so much damage at his third base. Losing that Nexus, catching so many Lurkers might be worth it if he can clean up the rest, but that is a big if.
The 9+1 air weapons here on the Cybercores, the carriers are going to show up, and honestly, not really that many Hydras here, so the carriers are going to have a pretty good time targeting down these Hydras. There will not be enough anti-air, which means we've got an answer to the Lurkers, so you know what? We lost the third base, but I think Krystianer will be able to rebuild off of that. These Lurkers burrow up because they're going to be completely stuck. Krystianer will guarantee the kill on all of them, and that is a huge amount of losses here from Elazer, who is going to be in a ton of trouble following up from that one. Krystianer looking good in this first game.
Dude, what a sicker. He's playing a dirty style. He does it so well. Really nice style here, and playing some exceptional StarCraft. Just slowly building up that Archon Immortal Storm army, and now swapping into carriers as well. Krystianer having a fantastic style, an awkward style that he is clearly a deep expert at, and these Zergs have been struggling with figuring this one out. It feels like it's been a while since the Protoss did something like this, where they've been spamming this kind of style on the ladder, or double Robo, Immortal Archon Storm with just good Zealot harass and Adept harass in the early game, and then the player's just not able to keep up with it and solve it. But his details are great. Adept harass was great. You know, the early Oracle did well. Overall, just all the little pieces kind of coming together, and yeah, Elazer built so much static, so many Lurkers got up, and he still just could not manage to stabilize there, even getting a position on the third base. An awkward game there for the Polish Zerg player, as the young gun, the player, I don't know if we could really call him an up-and-comer these days, but definitely someone who's climbing those ranks still. Krystianer outperforming a lot of people's expectations in game one.
Yeah, he's been an up-and-comer for a while, but like he's actually had really good attempts in this event. Just like I say, he never really seems to make like a playoff run, even though he challenges to get there a lot of the time. But Krystianer constantly feels as though he's kind of on that verge of being someone we can talk consistently about in the European scene at the top level. So honestly, I mean, a win against Elazer would be a great way to kind of set that up as well. So that'd be very cool as we get Krystianer joining the lobby here, and we'll be off and away into game number 2 of this best of 5 in a moment. Elazer now down a map and looking to try and avoid the lower bracket. The lower bracket here is going to be brutal, by the way, because if you lose this, you play against the loser of Skillus and Max Packs. Like, that is not an easy series. So this is really an important first round matchup. You know, for Elazer, you'd rather get into that round 2 winner bracket, have a chance against Skillus and Max Packs there, and then at least if you drop down to the lower bracket, you're 1 round deeper and likely to avoid a very tough opponent. So yeah, this is a really important series in the course of round 1 matchups altogether.
Yeah, absolutely. I was wondering about like this style, and does Nidus Swarmhost help against this? Because generally when players don't play Blink, historically Nidus Swarmhost was one of the best ways to punish it. I kind of feel like more of a, something that finds a way to trade when there's just a few Immortals, a few High Templar, a few Archons, and a Prism. Feels like there aren't that many tools, but it feels like if we let him go too long, there's like this growth of energy. The number of units that comes out gets kind of crazy, and there's just this insane Zealot harassment as well, which I think probably the big thing that we'll see fixed in this game. I don't necessarily see the entire strategies getting fixed, but definitely gonna have to defend this man Zealot harass because it's on fire. In the bottom left side of the map, it's Krystianer.
Yeah, he got way too much done with those Zealots. And in the top right, our blue Zerg is Elazer. Got to the Lurkers, but again, just was out of position a couple times over, forced to kind of go across the map, and from there, Krystianer had the answer. The fact he already had carriers ready really suggests how that was looking.
Sure, you're going to be allowed to go down, no block. Just going to go for the Gate Scout. He seems pretty content with that. He does that most games. Definitely a creature of habit. But yeah, I think he forgot his Twilight last game. It'd be funny if he does the same build order, exact same order. We'll know for sure then. No, it's intended. But maybe a bit of nerves in game one. If you kind of mess up your build slightly, stabilize from there, end up winning, it feels really good. But I guarantee you Elazer is not going to let that Prism wreak so much havoc next time around.
Yeah, gonna have to be way cooler and calmer about that as we do drop this Nexus in onto the natural hatchery coming up on the other side, the pool coming in. You've got the Cyber Core going as well for Krystianer. It's just going to start that up, so Nexus in the core. And we wait, as we always do in PvP. And in PvZ, sorry, to see what the tech choice is going to be after the Cyber Core.
I always wonder when it's country mates like this, like what the relationship is between the two. Something I'll have to ask the players about at the next event, next LAN. Because I know Krystianer had a bit of a reputation as an angry young lad on the ladder as he was coming up. Not sure these days, I think a lot of players start that way when they're teenagers. They don't like losing in certain ways. They call their opponents names or their faction names. I know I certainly did a tiny bit, not too much, but I feel like he's evolved as a player so much, and he's just got his own unique kind of flavor of PvZ here. And I really want to see, like, does he stick to the same style again? Because if he does, I would think it would be counterable. But we'll see what Elazer's got in store to deal with it. Tries to go for the purple gas base, gets blocked, goes for the other third. No worries.
Yeah, means that you're maybe not as far forward if you want to be doing something aggressive. Obviously, the Rich Vespine is nice, but you can grab that a bit later on as well. I don't think it's make or break right now as our Stargate comes online from Krystianer, and he will be able to get those first oracles out and to play on from that stage. See what sort of damage we can do. And oracle number one will start. Of course, the Adepts did so well last game early as well, so again, just tightening up the defense throughout the course of this game early is going to be step one for Elazer, having a better time here.
Yeah, I mean, the way the Adepts was sliding through those mineral lines and just evading the Zerglings was great, but look at that. Queen's intercepting and taking that much damage already. You really don't want to commit to the Shade. Lings are a little out of position, but look at that. Gets mining time without committing. That's a win for Krystianer. You know, you force Lings, you waste some mining time, you don't lose any actual hit points, you pull back, and already third and fourth gas goes down into Robo. Now, this is the part of the build where last time he went third and fourth Gateway now, when I believe Twilight should have gone down. But we'll see. There we go. Yeah. All right, he fixes the build. Man, if he could do that with a messed up build last game, I quake in my boots thinking about what he's got in store for us this time.
Yeah, no, it's one of those scenarios where I think Krystianer is actually going to come up with so many cool little things here. One Oracle into that super fast Twilight Robo does provide aggression, so setting up to be aggro. I was super wrong. I really thought he was going to play a little bit more standard coming into this series, but he is absolutely mixing it up and being super aggressive.
Yeah, so Raynor was losing to this a lot on the ladder a few weeks ago before he went to Korea, and he was literally saying he does this every game, this Archon drop into like really heavy Immortal Storm, and a lot of the Zergs were kind of scratching their heads going, how the heck do we beat this? So it's going to be interesting. I feel like Elazer must know about this. If you know, that's such a common thing on the ladder and stuff that players knew about. But we'll see what the solution is. Is it just keep doing the same thing but do it better? That's usually what pro gamers go for. If they feel like they made some obvious mistakes, like he did maybe with the Prism harass, maybe with his lurker positioning being a little better, make that slight adjustments, see how you go. So yeah, 600 gas, perfect amount there to warp in those 4 High Templar. Forge comes in behind it, third base is on the way, probing happening. And those 7 queens plus a couple roaches should be able to deflect this quite easily. Already 63 drones for Elazer. Man, what an impressive opening.
Yep. He's just off and away to the races in terms of eco, and he is going to be in position here immediately to shut down this Archon drop. I mean, that is bad, because if you try and get back through right now to save this, I mean, I guess there is an angle the Prism can get into to kind of evacuate, but well, it looks really bad. It's actually going to be somewhat okay. The Prism goes to upper right, so it's going to sit there as the Archons.
Remember the old days when Archons couldn't squeeze through the minerals, you know?
Yeah.
It's so nice they could actually go around. It used to be you just run your drones to the other side of the minerals, and the Archons are like, oh, we need to go all the way around the mineral line to move to the other side. But it's a little bit nicer now. Stasis traps going down to block the purple gas. 4th base infestation pits on the way. Looks identical for Elazer. 85/90 drones. We'll see a Hydroden and a Hive coming down next. And I assume an Evo chamber for some +1 range upgrades as well.
Well, that's the infestation pit and Hydrogen coming through. The Roach speed starting. He's going to be seeing the Oracle. He's going to get the Stasis Ward set up as the couple of Archons will fire, and the Queens will be taking some shots as well. Roach is moving forwards. Roach speed coming up. Again, Hydrogen is halfway done already, as that Stasis Ward catches a single ling. And now the Prism up to the top is going to go through and try to find some damage onto this mineral line, but nothing really given there. Again, we move into that Hydrogen Hive on the way. Lurker is an eventuality at this stage, and Elazer just shown us this fast setup, right? He just does not chill out at all, and he's being left alone and defending himself well enough to be able to get away with it, so...
No Evo chamber, just pure Roach Hydra into Lurker. And, I mean, like I said, just defend the Prism better. Could work out. He's got 84 workers on 3 base right now, though. So there's oversaturation, and then there's whatever Raynor has right now, or Elazer has right now, sorry, which is 85 workers. I mean, he's going to instantly saturate the 4th. He's building more. He's just going to mass Spore Spine again, right, Wardy? Like, this is a crazy work account.
Yeah. Oh, he has just got so many drones. It's like it's 7.5 minutes in the game. You can glance at this, the bottom of the screen right now and be like, oh, you know, we're pretty deep in this. No, like, we've barely gotten started. As Roaches show up, that's an instant cancel on the 4th base, so Elazer going to get the grab right there already. As we see the Hive about to finish up, a couple more Hydras coming through, Overlord's building. That's a force field to block some Roaches off, and they're all going to get caught.
No Storm this game, interestingly. Krystianer's got an earlier 4th. He's probing a little harder. His Zealots working their way up the middle. He's got the Prism going towards the main. The army on the front is always kind of like just to scare while the Zealots get in and do the real damage. They're just there to kind of clear the creep and that sort of thing. Unfortunately, no Observer with his army, so he wasn't able to clear the creep up on the front. But the Zealots in the main, Queens and Drones starting to fall. And here we go. He's going to hit the front. Archon, Zealot, Sentry coming forward. Roach Hydra trying to get down there. Guardian Shield doing a lot of work, doing some heavy lifting. He will be able to click the hatchery and pull back. That's a huge move against a guy like Elazer who relies on such a high work account. Oh, the army on the front, though, is getting kind of thinned out, I think. Chased a bit far, lost a few of his Archons. He's going to lose that next Archon as well. This is very costly for Krystianer. Yeah, losing all those Archons. He's got to pull back those Immortals and get more reinforcements.
So unnecessary. He got the 4th base. He could have been out of there really freely. And instead, he decided to kind of keep on poking through. And again, just not necessary. There's plenty of Hydras, high DPS output. It's just not something you really want to be facing up against. Storming +2 on the way right now from Krystianer as he follows this up. Gets a little Revelation down. Obviously, Elazer trying to rebuild into that 4th. A slower 4th than the Protoss player is not ideal, but we're about to be onto the Lurkers, and we'll see what the plan is from Krystianer from here. I can only imagine that if he feels comfortable, we're about to see another Stargate and kind of Fleet Beacon play, because that's going to be one of the most comfortable ways to set up late and to play against these Lurkers, so that seems as though it may be the plan, but right now he is pushing forwards again. We're still away off Storm, but we're going to get the 4th base a second time because the Lurkers went far enough forward.
Roaches on that left side, but there is Cannon Battery, Zealot warping, and recalls available. So you got to be careful about pushing into this with the Roaches. Oh, another cancel on that purple gas base. I feel like Elazer needs to just mine out the side. This middle base is a trap.
Well, this is a couple of zealots getting picked off as you see those roaches still able to advance through. The Archon here going to get taken down. I mean, at this point, Elazer has taken a position on the left side, but we could potentially ping back around to the right side and try and get that fourth again. We still need to deal with these roaches. They're finally starting to get some damage dealt. All this time, Elazer's had a good drone count that's not really been able to work, and we actually recall this entire army back over here to finally clean up these roaches. It's a major recall and a breath of fresh air from Elazer, who can finally take that forward base. He's also taking the 12 o'clock, which means that the two bases top left are extremely close to one another. Cannot help but feel like that is going to be a factor here a bit further down the line as well.
Target transition is going to be a little later this game as there's been a lot of action. Krystianer is struggling to max out right now. Immortal Storm does come forward. No Archons in this army to help buffer, but still a very beefy section of Immortals with that High Templar. Lurkers on the top left going to be causing big problems. Already 7 probes going down. They will be exposed, but if he pulls his whole army up there, Elazer's going to surround him. Elazer's going for a big surround right now by the looks of it. Oh me, oh my. This is going to get really weird really fast.
No recall available, of course. We're going to try and run down the bottom here where a couple of Lurkers are going to sit up on that right side. We have got High Templars still alive. Another storm or two on the Hydras, and they should stop the chase, and we are going to be able to escape away. So Krystianer is able to eke out through the bottom there, and he is going to keep himself alive.
Doesn't feel like Elazer's style is really dealing with this, and he's not got a lot of progression. There's no Great Aspire, there's no second Evo. It feels here like Krystianer is just like, hey, I'm gonna keep trading way better than you, and as long as he has a fourth base up and saturated Stargate transition on the way, Elazer has the pressure on him to get something done. And yet Krystianer seems all over it. There's this beautiful Charge-Lord Immortal Archon style that he's got is just doing so well. And here we go, Lurker Hydraling set up on this base. Hard to push through Lurkers. How many Lurkers are there on the map? 12 right now. Not as many as there were.
Yeah, 12 seems manageable, especially because they're pretty spread out. And the Hydras have stayed on the low ground there. There's too many Lurkers, so we do not commit in. I actually feel as though it could have been actually somewhat okay. Ling's on the other side, and we're going to just get the warp in there. If they'd gone straight through, they would have been in, but that is a mistake made by Elazer, as now we have Hydra lurking pusher up the upper left side, and this is where the choke point is going to become an issue. We can maybe do some units coming around the other direction. We've got so many observers available. Make sure that we're never going to run into issues with detection as we do chase these lurkers off. But Krystianer losing a lot, and now he's in trouble on the natural again as Elazer keeps this action rolling.
Yeah, I mean, those Immortals can hold that high ground, but I like the way Elazer pulls back. These Hydra Lings doing a lot. The Zealot Archon Immortal comes back. And you know what? Only 7 probes so far. If he can stabilize, it could be okay. Tempest Cannon in the main might be able to eventually defend. The Zealots will get back in time over on the third, though. 9 probes in total go down. To be fair, Elazer's worker count is not that much higher. Still similar economies for both sides. And remember, there's no upgrades. There's no transition here. Elazer's building 12 more workers? What? This is crazy. He's building so much static, I guess, but there's no Vipers, no Infestors, +2 only now starting. Does feel like Elazer's kind of stuck in this mid game. Without a more big run bys, he'll be in trouble. He's got to get by. That top side is where the Lurkers. If he can take out the fourth, it's huge.
Yeah, he's going to get into position there as Krystianer was chasing everything down to the south. First carriers are coming up, but he's going to have no fourth base to play with. Maybe he plays kind of one of these bases over here now instead, but it's going to take a while to set up. Elazer is going to get this base. Massive win for him. Just as it felt like Krystianer was kind of really having some control, Elazer has found ways to pick him apart, and Krystianer, I think, definitely struggling with kind of playing in multiple directions. Now we get some storms and some army up the left side, but he's just not been able to really comfortably defend that upper left position. Obviously, Elazer having a base nearby, that has made it difficult as well, as these lurkers sit here, get some shots off, and we get a lot more probes before they recall away.
Yeah, it's huge. Carrier transition is not as early this time around. The Tempests maybe weren't the right call. I'm not 100% sure on that one. Lots of Hydra Lurker. Elazer still has a giant economy. Nidus Worm on the way as well. He's got pressure on him, or he had pressure on him to keep up the momentum, but now that he's killed the fourth, I feel like that eases a lot of the pressure off Elazer. He's still obviously not really preparing for like an end game. He's not like, oh, I need melee upgrades, Inspire, and Spellcasters. He's like, no, I'm just going to remax on this army, and we're going to go make some big plays. Now, he's got a lot of money, and he's not maxing right now, which is a little odd.
Yeah. I mean, you would just expect him to kind of go full max, and then I mean, what's he waiting for? Like, figuring out what he wants to do, drop some Nidus in?
It makes sense. Yeah, if he's playing slow and like double upgrading and going Spire, it makes sense. But he's still only on single Evo. That's why playing slow doesn't make sense here, because he just doesn't have any upgrades, you know. And it seems he wants to play slow. I love that move though. Oh, I love that. Nothing like a cheeky Nidus in the back door. Does get in the natural and a lurker behind the third. Loses his purple gas base for the 5th time this game. Don't think it matters too much. He's got the 2 edge bases, and Elazer's still got a very good economy. That lurker in the main base is going to be denying a lot of the mining there. The worker's just running about. There's no mining right now. Krystian is dry. He's got no income.
Yeah.
0 income for the Protoss. He's got a 1 killer army, but Zerg is rich.
And he just pulled this whole army back to kind of try and deal with this. You're right, Zerg is rich, static defense continues up, Spire's going to be here soon, so we're going to have a better composition answer to this as well. So this is really only getting better and better for Elazer. I feel like Krystianer has, again, he's struggled so much with when Elazer has just attacked around the map. His movement to kind of respond to that has been, you know, suboptimal, and that's really opened all the doors for Elazer to get so much done. And now Krystianer is going to be, well, still on this one massive army, but it's really time to just go and not turn around anymore. Like, his economy is not good. His setup is not great to sit back. I think you just got to go. +1 air weapons will finish.
Yeah.
And yeah, just send it, man. I mean, it may not look pretty, but playing a longer game and pulling back all the time is just going to look worse and worse for you.
11 High Templar with Storm. If Elazer messes up and those Hydras get stormed, you could still punch through. It's a lot of Hydra Lurker though. Lots of spores backing him up. I love the way Elazer's just kind of adding static as insurance right now. He's out positioning with the Lurker multi-prong. Now he does this, looking fantastic. Krystian is going to transfer workers back to that left side base. It's wide open for run-bys though, and Lings will be quick to take advantage, or Hydras in fact. Hydra run-by. And you don't normally want to throw away this many Hydras. I don't think he cares too much though. Oh, he's just going to click it? Ooh, it's a bit dangerous. Good recall.
Yeah, that was a good recall. We actually have units from the top side going to find some of these Hydras as well. So that's actually a nice catch. Get some kills, and we're now going to take a... I mean, this could potentially be the opening, right? If you want to fight this army, this is it, because this is less static defense than you're going to find anywhere else on the map. If Krystianer was going to engage, something like that may be it. You know, maybe not right now, but in the future, if you catch the static defense out of position, because these spores are still all migrating over. Krystianer going to go back to the center. 10 more Corruptors coming through. I feel like every Corruptor is just one step closer to Elazer knocking down this game, because it really feels as though at some stage here, Corruptors are just going to be, you know, the thing that wipes out this air army, which was maybe the most powerful part of the army of Krystianer as we press through once again.
Elazer's got changelings in under his army, and he just can't click on all of them. There's so many in there that Elazer's just been tracking his army. He was struggling to click on them, and he's kind of given up on it and just said, screw it, you can see me, I don't care. I'm just going to keep pushing forwards and try to find an opening, because you feel that immense pressure being on 37 probes here, just saying, I got to find damage, I got to do something. But look at that, Ling's on the right side as well. Another big run by for Elazer. Actually, probably Hydras again this time. Yep, Hydras again. Running in, +3 Hydras. Who needs Carapace? Who needs melee? Just mass Hydra Lurker. Now with some Corruptors added in. Great players by Elazer. Elazer does need Corruptor upgrades. He's only got +1 air weapons, and it's very important. If there gets to be like 10 carriers with +2 or +3, you know, eventually they will kill you. Hydras for now, though, are going to catch a carrier in the open. Corruptors dive in. They take out another one. Great plays right now. Elazer's picking him apart. Another carrier goes down. Master of Mass Hydra Lurker. Elazer looking fantastic.
Yes, he is. It was rough in the early game. It was really tough, but he really just swung it around with, again, his ability to kind of start attacking here, there, and everywhere. And like I said a couple times already, that was really the trouble point for Krystianer. From there on out, he's just not really had control of this in the slightest. GG is called, and it is going to be Elazer to obviously take this one down and to tie up the series. So troubling for Elazer initially, because again, it was not looking pretty for him at the start of this game. But brings it back, gets the series tied up, and that's a big deal breaker, because now he's, you know, level instead of 0-2 down. And that's a massive reset on the mentality of this series as well, as you go into side delta, and Elazer definitely, again, it still has to kind of figure out the early to mid game a bit more though, right? Because that early stage has still been rough for him. That's what happened in game 1. He was definitely able to turn it around in game 2, but it was still a problem. So things to look at going into game 3. Side delta will be the map. I'll be heading into it as soon as our players join the lobby. Get this ready to rumble.
What's the main difference between game 1 and game 2, Wardy? The prism got killed, right?
Yeah.
I feel like that's it. And then like, even in that multi-prong, it was kind of like pretty close. And I'm like, if there was a prism distracting Elazer during this and like a few more zealot run-bys, I feel like it's that same shift we were talking about in the previous Gung Fu Spirit series, where it's like when one player is just on the offensive and in control and picking and choosing where the fights happen, they sometimes look like a completely different player to when they're on the defensive, right? Like it's kind of easier to attack and when you're controlling the tempo. So I feel like losing that prism, I can't remember even where it happened or if we even caught it on screen because there was so much going on. But I think catching that and getting rid of it was really big for Elazer because then he was the one running in from multiple sides, the big Hydra Ling run by on the natural, Lurkers running in from multiple angles, the Nidus in the back. So that was really where he started to run away with that game. But yeah, Krystianer's got a fascinating style. It's just basically 1 to 2 oracles off 2 adepts into Archon drop every game. We'll see if he keeps sticking with this and if Elazer can solve it for good. If he wins another game in a row, he'll be feeling very nice about things. Down on the bottom right side, representing Team Liquid, it's Elazer.
And in the upper left-hand corner, it is going to be our red Protoss player, Krystianer.
It's Science Delta. It's a map where I always think of this map in like kind of big, close late games EVPs, like neural parasites, catching immortals and carriers in the open, and ultras jumping on top. I feel like ultras really excel in the big wide open spaces on this map, but that is much later down the track. And in general, not something you're really ever going to see against a guy that goes double robo immortal every game, are you? So I guess that's a different style of Zerg to go up against kind of the standard Blinker stuff. But you know, I've been a big proponent of Blink Stalkers are great if you're a god of using them, and otherwise there are probably other better tools Protoss has, and it's cool to see that Krystianer can actually do this style at this level so successfully.
It really is. And it's also kind of having his own kind of thing that's like not maybe the most typical of things. It's always cool as well when you've got like, again, you know, someone like Krystianer who's not, you know, a super established player, being able to bring it out here and, you know, take on one of your biggest rivals, someone who has, you know, really dominated you in the past. Definitely making it close and making it look like he, you know, the historic scoreline should not be like 22-2 or whatever it is. It's definitely something that Krystianer is making a point of today, even if it's only 1-1 right now.
Yeah, it's kind of like, I don't know, 2015, 2016, Elazer coming up, and they're like, oh, I kind of made it close first Nurture. Oh, and then, you know, you eventually start taking maps off him, and then you start beating the guy in your country, in your region, and start even dominating them at some point, often. And it's always cool to see that evolution of these players as they work their way up the ranks. It's people don't realize, I think, sometimes they go like, oh, it's pro gaming. So, like, if I play a game for a few months, maybe I can be a pro. And you're like, it's like anyone who gets pro at any competitive RTS, especially a game like StarCraft, there's usually like 5 years of high-level competitive real-time strategy gaming, even if they were doing it as a non-pro, but like learning all of the fundamentals, building the skills, the mental flexibility, and just the different kind of learning processes to get to that position. It is not something that happens overnight. It is a slow process that takes an insane amount of work, and that is why these players always have my eternal respect. Even if they're the player you just see get knocked out in the first round of every tournament, the amount of work they had to put to get there is ridiculous. And that's why we should always realize they're going to put in a lot more work than those of us watching on the sidelines ever really could be bothered to. So hats off to them for that.
Well, Adeptis shading in to try and get some drone kills. Would love to obviously get some damage done. That was one of the things from Krystianer as well, was so good early on with the with the Adepts in game number 1. Got so much damage dealt. And
Yeah.
Third hatchery dropping in from Elazer, nothing too crazy there. And the third Nexus, nice and early from Krystianer also.
Yeah, that's much quicker this time. So this is a very different build for him, right? Remember, it was 3rd and 4th gas Robo Twilight last time around. And this is much more like a standard PvZ. 3rd and 4th gas goes down. Like, it looks like just a Blink build, right?
Yeah, I think so. Get up to Blink and utilize that as your kind of way to control. Good map for playing Blink on as well. Lots of easy to push into positions, push into bases. So I could understand kind of putting some pressure on with Blink kind of throughout the earlier stages and then just kind of running from there as your game plan. Make a lot of sense.
Perfect pylon timing he had before, Krystianer, and looks like he will again, I think, with the Nexus finishing Dawn supply block himself. Does go Twilight Forge, but very quick Robo, so I think probably not Blink. Probably going to see Charge nice and early and +1 and just little Immortals in that standard style. 3 drones do go down. Oracle's doing pretty well so far. Oh, no. Make it 4, make it 5. The Polish Gambit. And that's why it's called the Gambit, because sometimes you move those queens to support another base, and not having the Spore anchoring it does lose you a lot. 8 drones go down. Now, that in of itself does not mean it's game over or Elazer's way behind, because remember, he's skipping 3 Spores. Like I said, it nets you enough minerals to have 7 more Spore drones. But now, the second wave, another 5 drones, this is where it starts to get rough. Despite that, Elazer's got a good work account, but not enough Zerglings to stop the Adepts, and that's where the problem starts.
Well, yeah, we just move in here, and this is just a ton more drones going down. Elazer is in some serious trouble. He's going to just keep on holding down the drone key. At this point, he's like, yeah, there's no point making any other units to clean this up. I'm just going to accept the losses and try to replace them as best I can. This is painful, as the last couple of Adepts refuse to go down until 23 workers have died. Disaster for Elazer at the start of Side Delta. And Krystianer taking a work lead on 60 is definitely not the kind of time. And you know what, with the Charge Shot Immortal Archon follow-up as well, man, you can hit a hell of a timing against a Zerg that took economy damage like that. Like, this is going to be a rough few minutes for Elazer.
Elazer's lair's just started. His tech is so far behind. I mean, obviously, this is classic Elazer, losing 27 workers and then still having equal workers with your opponent. But don't get me wrong. It's very bad. 2-to-1 trading, very efficient for Krystianer. He had a bit of a worker lead. He's got more production ahead of time. He's simply ahead, and that is a fantastic start for him. Something where I think Elazer just needed to have a little bit better map vision with his Zerglings, or to notice those Adepts coming. He just droned a little too hard. I think he could have bounced back from the Oracle waves if he had even just 6 or 7 more Zerglings. Would have been massive against those Adepts.
Oracles will make their way around that right side. So many drones from Elazer. He just does his best to undo the damage, but of course every drone you build right now is a lava that should have been a unit off of an economy that should have already been mined, because he should have never lost those drones. So that's the knock-on effect. As +1 attack, the charge coming through, Immortal and Sentries coming up, Robo Facility as well. As
5th base already, my gosh. 6th base already. And a Baneling Nest. Oh, he's going to play Ravager Bane this time. Okay, that's a change up. Double Evo, Ravager Ling Bane, 5 hatcheries, 83 workers, but the attack's already coming. Yeah. Oh, he doesn't look ready for this. The Lasers on the back foot right now. Let's see how much Krystianer commits.
Yep, he's just going to come across. He's going to be kind of setting up towards this base. He finds a Morphing Ravager, which is amazing, so forces the cancel on that. A few more High Tempo, some more Archons will be set up. A few Zealots to go along with this. Just need to be careful. Don't get your army too split up, because you can absolutely just kind of overwhelm in one position. We're going to decide to go down south. That's where the few Ravagers are. The Queens and the few Roaches up top. Nice Force Fields are going to catch a bunch of units there. That's going to give the Archons a chance to really fight. Prism needs to just move back and get another Warp in here. This is where you can just get extra Zealots and start to really overwhelm this Krystianer. Just has tech units that are not being touched right now. That's the problem. You're clearing out Zealots as a Elazer, but you're not even touching the Archon Immortal. 23 Roaches were on their way just then. That's great and all, but they're spawning in all sorts of different bases, and they're just going to show up at different times. And so it's going to give Krystianer an eternity to work with, as he's already got Zealots in the base. He's already killed 20 plus drones again. We're getting to the point of killing 50 or over 50 workers in the game right now. GG from Elazer, and Krystianer moves into match point.
Just a little bit out of position with those Queens. It's a fragile defense. And then, of course, not having the Lings ready for the Adept follow-up. You were like, yeah, that Adept harass in game 1 was just really fantastic. Well, this time it was just 5 Adepts up the middle. I would say less elegant than those pairs of Adepts that did so much in game 1, but even more effective. Massive game-ending damage there. And Krystianer finds himself up 2-1 against Elazer, despite being a massive underdog going into this match. Remember, I mean, their head-to-head historically was 2 wins, 22 losses. that's insane in terms of series. If you bring it to maps, it's a little better, so that's 8.3%. In maps, 14 wins, 46 losses, 23%. Still pretty damn rough, man. That's not a great situation, but finding himself up 2-1 feels like he's exceeding everyone's expectations and kicking butt tonight.
Alrighty, well, let's see if Krystianer can cause the upset. It would be huge because, again, the lower bracket match in this section is not going to be easy. It would be incredible to avoid that right now and to give yourself a shot at winning bracket round 2. So, Elazer saying go. Elazer and Krystianer both readying up. Krystianer absolutely succeeding early in these games, putting himself in great positions. Can Elazer stop that? Can he get steady? Can he get some better defense going? It might be time to drop the gambits and just to go for the tried and tested actual defense against units that are trying to kill you.
Juicy games coming up, man. Juicy games. This is when the iron is hot and Elazer has to strike. If he doesn't, that's going to be rough. But Alcyon, it's a decent map. It's a macro map. It's one from the previous season. He has a lot of experience on, as does Krystianer. And yeah, we saw a, similar army comp. It's going to be a Charger Model Archon comp. I'd love to see some of that Roach Swarm Host Nidus. I don't know if it's on the menu at all. But definitely feel like there's got to be some sort of way of punishing this play, perhaps as well. The other thing is there isn't really any Phoenix, and there's not that much Oracle play. Mutas might be possible, but for now, let's get into this game. Upper in the top right, Krystianer hopefully has an answer to the gold base.
In the bottom left, looking to bounce back with the gold, it is going to be Elazer in this best of 5 game 4, and he is down 1-2.
Oh me, oh my. He scouts that gold base immediately. Does show the probe. Doesn't try to hide it at all. Interesting. I remember there was a period where Hero and a few other Protoss players were going just 2-gate on this map. Chronoing, the 2 to 4 adepts across the map, expanding behind it, just to make sure the Zerg couldn't really mine off the gold until link speed was up. And that was pretty successful for a little while, but I think the Zergs figured out how to defend it, so that's fallen out of favor more recently. Extra worker on gas for Krystianer at home, so it does look like he's going to be going for the Stargate yet again. And no special plan to immediately deny the base. Maybe just saying, you know what, I can just chrono adepts as I normally do, and I think my normal opening will do just fine.
Yep, just going to be getting that set. A few drones transferring across towards that gold, and we'll see again. Wait for what Krystianer wants to do. I mean, honestly, the way his harassment has gone, I feel as though he could just play normal and have a very good time trying to harass the gold, hit the main, oracles in different places. But we will see what he decides as the drones move across here. The gold is mine, and Elazer's income is going to be boosted a little bit for the foreseeable future. Yeah.
Probe's been really checking everything. It's one of those things where I'm like, what are you looking for here? Do you think he might link flood? I'm not like, yeah, I'm kind of, the probe is checking so many things. And I feel like players normally just go, oh, you got the gold base, and they just kind of go home with the probe. But he seems to be expecting potentially some trickery from Elazer. Wants to double check everything. Doesn't find anything suspicious. Does kind of back away for now. We did see one chrono on the adept. I really wonder if we see a second chrono onto the second adept, because I always feel like that's a huge move that's super worth it in this scenario. There we go. Yeah, he does. Good choice. So going to be lots of probes coming in behind it. Adepts are going to head towards that gold base. The rocks are down, which will allow the queen out the backside to defend those minerals. And there's a few Zerglings behind her. Nicely done.
Well handled so far. Defense is decent. Next adept making its way across the map. Warpgate and Stargate both coming through, as Krystianer will join the two adepts together. And again, more adepts still in production, so absolutely continue to add to those numbers. And again, right now, he's got a choice of which base he hits. Does he go to the gold? Does he shade towards the main base? And this is, things that, Elazer has to kind of figure out defensively at the price of having taken that gold early. This time we're going to shade the adepts towards the main, but they're walking towards the gold. He sees the two queens here. He's just going to commit. The lings are here as well, though. They're a little bit hidden, but you know what? For two adepts, we're still going to get 4 drones. It's very akin to what we saw in game 1.
Yeah, not bad. Not bad at all. Gold minerals, obviously, are something to inspire a little bit of fear, though. Bit of urgency in the Protoss. I love this third queen timing so early to have 3 queens on the gold. That Oracle dives, it's going to take a lot of damage. Gets 1 drone, gets in, gets out. Actually 2? Was that 2 drones just then?
Yeah.
I feel like I was only shooting for half a second. Sometimes I just get shocked by, I'm probably just too tired. It's like 3:30 a.m. in Australia, but still I'm like, sometimes when the Oracle just sits and shoots, I'm like amazed at how quickly it evaporates workers.
It's okay, Pig. We get it. I mean, I'm the same as well. I'm like, oh, I killed a drone. I'm like, wait, there was 6 dead? Wow.
Then you realize it's something that hit like 20 seconds earlier and like the timer is like stitched together from the previous harassment. And you're like, oh no, I'm not crazy.
It makes you second guess yourself sometimes.
Yeah, same follow-up though, man. Same follow-up. Like, damn, Krystianer has got a style. He's going to stick to it. Yeah. Dude, I would love to see Rogue versus Krystianer, because Rogue is like the most strategic Zerg who will just change everything he does based on his opponent's habits. And I just feel like he'd be like throwing the kitchen sink at him in terms of weirdness. Whereas Elazer is showing the most European way of countering, or at least has been. Now he's going for the Roachling Queen Walk finally. He's going to go for the aggressive push. This should be so hard for him to stop, especially without any Immortals. Oh yeah, dude, this Ravager Ling Walk is going to be so tough to deal with. Third base, I feel like is almost a free kill. I don't know if you can break the natural though. That's where things could get a bit weird.
And it's very important what Krystianer does defensively. Like, if he just gives up the naturals, gives up the third straight away, this could be all right for him. Obviously, if you try and defend the third and then the rest goes on, that could be problematic. We are going to be seeing the Archons dropping in. They're going to get some kills on drones, and that might slow Elazer down a little bit. An Overlord kill or 2 is actually great as well. We're close to a supply block, although a new Overlord or 2 are building as well. Adept showing up on the gold base. They can start getting drones. There's nothing over here, so more drones going down. And I think if you're Krystianer, you say, okay, I'm doing good damage. Let's just, cancel up on my third. Let's not try and defend this too much. He sees the Queens pulling back to deal with the Adepts. I think he's going to have a very good idea of what this is. He just needs to figure out what he's going to do. He is actually moving forwards to hold that third, Pig. What do we think?
I mean, I don't mind fighting out there for a little with a battery overcharge, but the moment it looks like things are turning south, you got to get out of there. There's so many Lings and Ravagers. Archons are so good with battery, though. The battery surviving is kind of huge. There's a second one in the back. Lings go around the left side to attack the natural, but the Immortal Zealot's going to hold on pretty well there. This actually looks like an incredible hold so far from Krystianer, but it's nowhere near over just yet. He's still at half the army supply, but boy, is it dense army supply. Dude, the way Elazer pulls back is so smart, though. Just waiting for battery overcharge to run out. He's like, dude, there's no reason to force this. Battery overcharge is gone. Now we fight, and Archon has already gone down. Lings on the left side. Archon's there, and Immortals trying to hang on. Bile's going down. Batteries all getting depowered. The Artosis pylon does get focused down. The Oracle will fall to the Queens. 2 Archons and 2 Immortals. As you said, trying to defend that third might be a little bit much. If he had a bit more battery healing, maybe, just maybe. There's just so little support for these units, and that is going to be a brilliant victory for Elazer. As I said, I wanted to see players do rogue style, throw the kitchen sink at them strategies. Elazer brought that one out very nicely. Gold base into a queen walk is a brilliant strategy, and one which a build that's so focused on a prism, couple of archons, couple of oracles, and all that tech and workers just isn't quite as geared for. Whereas if he knew it was coming or had a bit more time to respond, of course, gets a few more Immortals out, a few more Archons to defend from the Zerglings, the batteries as well, able to potentially hold on. But a good way to tie up the series. We're getting ourselves a game 5, mate.
Yeah, man, we're going to get ourselves game number 5, first time here in Europe, first time in a little while. Yeshi Nice was a game 5 earlier, but that was an eternity ago, a good 6 hours, so we are back now to a game 5. Krystianer Elazer goes River for game 5 as well, which obviously can be a very interesting map. The aggressive pushes can be good here on both sides, so it's going to be absolutely no guarantee of what's about to happen. This is going to be a pretty darn wild time.
Going to be interesting to see how this series pans out from here, because game 5, it's where kind of the emotions run high. I feel like Krystianer, he kind of looked nervous in game 1, right? At the start, and very quickly looked confident after like a few minutes in. Build order was a bit off. Great Adept harass. Beautiful Zealot harass. I mean, that Zealot harass in game 1 was out of this world. But he's kind of stuck within this one range of plays, which does seem very predictable at this point. On the other hand, Elazer's used up a Queen Walk. He doesn't seem like the guy who wants to do that twice in a row, right? It's going on to Ghost River now. I have no idea exactly what the heck is going to be going on. Up here in the top, actually, we can introduce the players in a second, I guess, once we actually know which player we're introducing. I'll let you take it away.
Top right-hand side, you're good. Top right-hand side. I believe Zerg from Team Liquid is going to be Elazer.
And in the top left, the Protoss player surprising everybody with his performance so far. The king of Chargelot Immortal Archon Storm, it's Krystianer.
One more map. When it goes through, loser is going to drop to a tough lower bracket matchup. That will be dependent on who wins and loses the PvP. That is up next as well, so that PvP is a-coming. Max Pack Skillets coming up straight after this 5th game. Very exciting time here in the ESL Regionals.
Interesting to see Elazer open up like this.
Gas pool.
Early pool gas. Yeah, that's kind of crazy. It's a very old, it's an older style, but I guess because he knows both bases can potentially be blocked, gives him some opportunities. It also gives some crazy all-ins you can do off it if you want to get really wild. Third base does go down for him behind this. Krystianer is going to be going for the standard Nexus afterwards. Man, I feel like there's so much pressure on both of these guys' backs at this point. And definitely we're going to see, is it just back to the most standard version of the build here? I think it might be that robo with the double gas before the third base to just to feel like you get out your units as quickly as possible and just kind of go for those Archons as early as you can. Wouldn't be surprised if that's the most comfortable spot for our Polish underdog.
Yeah, I can agree that Probe is just going to go chill in the corner, by the way. So he's going to wait a little bit. Maybe come back and be a little bit of a factor later for figuring out what's up. Or maybe even be cheekier than that. As you have ourselves the Cybercore just about to finish from Krystianer. So it's going to be tech time in a moment or two. There's a couple of lings continue to go across the map. I mean, it's not a bad time to hide a probe and just try and scout again a bit further down the line, because you'd love to know just what it is that Elazer has got this early gas pool for. He's going to see link speed, and he's going to see gas still mining. So it's a huge scout. You get so much information off of this here as Krystianer early on. A couple of things just snuck into the main. There's the lair that comes up as soon as that probe goes down. So that's why our gas is gone. It's lair time. I mean, that's a pretty reasonable guess you can make with what Krystianer saw anyways.
Is he ling flooding with like Nidus or something and like drops? I wonder, like elevator.
just me.
He's got an overlord in position for the elevator on the south. So I'm really wondering. Yeah, lots of lings are being built. I wonder if this is just like ling flood with elevator at the same time.
Yeah, I'm with you. That's what I was kind of thinking as well. As the lair and the lings continue through.
But, you know, I mean, I feel like just good if you wall off and just pull up into your main. You've got oracles, you know. This sort of stuff's pretty damn powerful against this. And we'll find out in a moment anyway what's going on. Elazer has some special plans right now. Nidus Worm does go down, so yep, he's going to go for that Nidus Worm. Love to see the elevator with the Dropper Lord as well, personally. If he gets surrounded the Adepts, that'll be massive. He's going to get the surround.
One Adept gets away, but obviously you're going to still get that surround afterwards again, so this is a big problem already, as we do see the wall off at least is good, but losing a unit, every unit is going to count. As the Nidus will be here shortly, the Oracle already activating, but that's a very early activation. That is energy spent. And Krystianer looking as though he might actually be in just a little bit of trouble at the moment. Robo facility on the way through. The feeling is going to go back towards the warp gate. That is going to finish at least, so we will have weapons available. But Nidus in the corner, and Krystianer has no vision of it. This is kind of where you die, especially as you're cutting Oracle number 2 to get the early Twilight Robo. This is absolutely worst case scenario for Krystianer. He is dead as a dodo.
Yeah, this is really tough, man. He's whooping in a few more Adepts with no battery in the... This is a disaster. so much Lin Queen getting in. Elazer on just 23 workers, going for broke here in game 5, digging deep and saying, I gotta go all in, man. And I gotta say, dude, Krystianer he's got to defend real tight. He's got to make sure everything's perfect. He can't let his adepts get surrounded. Not like that. Oh, the adepts are getting surrounded. That is a huge problem. The probes do body block a little bit, but 3 adepts have gone down. Make it 4. The 5th adept is surrounded as well. That's going to be that. That is a beautiful all-in from Elazer to finish off game 5. His opponent definitely, I think, surpassed everyone's expectations. But Elazer came out with the dirty, tricky build order to finish off the series. And sometimes that's exactly...